The cat distribution system is called yet again. We got a transfer request from a rescue in the neighboring town. They took an FIV positive cat from our city shelter that I wasn't able to accommodate at the time because of Papa Cat's upcoming dental surgery. There aren't many places around that'll take a cat with FIV, so I was really worried for him. He was up for euthanasia, so without them stepping up and taking him, he wouldn't have made it this far. So we made some plans, prepped a transfer form, grabbed a cage, and hit the road. We came here almost exactly a month ago to adopt a cat out, so it's pretty fitting that we would be coming back to grab a new one. Hopefully he likes everyone and gets along well. He was such a good boy on the ride home. My cats won't even ride a few minutes down the road to the vet's office without having a screaming fit, but he was pretty chill about the whole ordeal, even the bumpy parts. Now we're back and we can start the intake process. We like to log some basic information like weights, medications, injuries, symptoms, anything like that. He's gonna stay in here for the next 2 weeks to keep him isolated from the other cats in the shelter, so if he has anything that isn't symptomatic yet, I don't accidentally get everyone else sick by putting him in there prematurely. I can afford one sick cat, but not everybody right now. I'm gonna try to go make an appointment for him before the end of the day. I'd like to get him in as soon as possible so we can get him cleared for adoption and listed. He looks to be in really good health overall, but I like to do my due diligence and make sure the cats I'm adopting out are given anything they need before leaving our care. The main benefit to operating at a small scale like I do is that you can prioritize quality. High-intake public shelters like the one Max came from initially aren't afforded that luxury, but it doesn't make the work they do any less valuable or meaningful. Watching the way the public behaves towards our city shelter over the last few years has been very eye-opening. People's expectations are overwhelmingly so beyond out of touch with reality that it genuinely scares me. To be fair though, part of that has to do with a lack of transparency on the shelter's end. If they were a bit more clear and properly educated people on what's actually going on and how it all works, I don't think they'd have such a bad reputation. Half the town mistakenly believes it to be a no-kill shelter, and the other half think they're out to get everyone and hate all the animals. As someone with a slightly different window into the situation, I know they care about the animals. None of the FIV positive cats like Dior or Echo or Max that have come from them would have even made it to us if they didn't. It took a lot more effort to make all that work than to just put them down. But because they don't make this kind of stuff clear, the general public doesn't know that. I'm sure Max is thanking his lucky stars that those guys cared enough to get him out of Dodge. He was a bit hesitant to come out of his cage at first, but with a little bribery, he warmed up pretty quick. This is basically my only cat-free zone, so I use it as an office, but it can double as an isolation unit in a pinch. I have a lot of stuff in here that I don't want him to mess with, so anytime he's unsupervised, he goes in one of the big kennels we use for integrating them into the shelter or keeping them separated after surgery. Watching this footage back, I realize how misleading this all looks. Don't let the outfit fool you, I am not a clinician, I am just a weird cat lady. The main point of wearing scrubs in this particular case is, well, all the pockets, because you need to be part marsupial for this, but mostly so I don't accidentally get them mixed up with my regular laundry, because I've done that before. These get a special wash with lots of sanitizer and then washed a second time just in case. They're probably too polyester to run through the autoclave, so I'm not even gonna try, but if you have pure cotton ones, they can withstand the temperatures and won't melt in there. Most people use fully disposable PPE for working in isolation spaces. I just already feel so wasteful with how much garbage I produce doing all this that I like to cut down on it anywhere I reasonably can. I'm not a vet, so I obviously can't diagnose anything, but I still like to check them over on intake. If I notice anything too concerning, it gives me a chance to take them in for an emergency visit before something goes awry. Generally speaking though, it gives me a good idea of what all I should let the vet know when I do take them in. I feel like we all need a cat first aid class that shows people how to take vitals, what signs and symptoms to be on the lookout for, how to clean a wound, all that business. I know really basic stuff like what their resting heart rate should fall between, so I check for that. I'm not the best at identifying lung sounds, but I have a pretty solid idea of what normal lungs should sound like, so if I hear anything concerning in there, I can call the clinic and see what they think. You can use an otoscope like this one to check their ears for debris and infection that might be hiding down in there. It's a really useful tool that you can grab fairly cheap. All I was able to see in the normal one is what I assume to be ear mite dirt, and he won't let me get a good look in the cropped ear. I'm guessing that one's the bad one. I'm gonna flush them both out with some Malacat and use a paper towel to collect the excess, that way I don't jam any debris down in there when I get the Q-tips. Malacat Flush is a pretty safe and gentle option that I've really been liking ever since I got my first bottle. I also like to soak a cotton swab in it and use it to clean the upper parts of their ear when I do their monthly ear cleanings. The Q-tips I use have a pointed end and a blunt end. The pointed end fits perfectly in their upper ear folds, and the blunted one works great for the canal. If you use a flush like this, be ready for them to shake their head and fling it all over the place if you don't catch it with a paper towel in time. I usually end up covered in it by the end, but he actually kept his head pretty still for me. He's so mild-mannered. Considering he's never met me before, he's doing so well tolerating all my poking and prodding. This poor guy probably just wants to relax and get situated in his new environment, and I keep disrupting him every time he gets comfy. His temperament will make him a really good candidate for adoption. I don't really have a lot of people I'm comfortable bringing around the shelters, so socializing them with other people can be a bit difficult. It ends up making a lot of our cats a bit shy and nervous around strangers, and I feel like that's going to cause problems at some point. People return animals to shelters for super frivolous reasons, so if I don't figure that out, that's what's going to happen to me. I've been pretty lucky so far. Everyone I've adopted to still has their cats, so that's a plus. I'm going to show you guys a little sample through the otoscope on this paper towel because there's no way I'm going to get a good shot inside of his ear. Ear mite dirt is just blood and waste product mixed in with their earwax, so that's what makes it look like this. Some ear infections cause buildup that look just like ear mite dirt though, so I can't even be totally sure without a shadow of a doubt that I'm technically looking at what I think I am. I just know that it's such a common thing we deal with that's always going to be my first assumption unless someone tells me otherwise. Excessive scratching at their ears can cause trauma and inflammation, so I'll give him a second and then make him stop. It's actually what seems to have happened to Doofy's ears to make them crinkle up before we got him. It probably looks like I'm just blindly jamming this swab in there willy-nilly, but I promise I'm not gonna hurt him. Their ear canals are shaped in a way that makes cleaning them out with Q-tips pretty safe and easy if you just use some basic common sense. I always try to pay close attention to the upper parts of their ears when I clean them. They have these really deep crevices that collect stuff, and we want that out of there. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, but this has been my preferred method for a while. Standing behind them makes it easier for me to hold on to them and keep them from backing away. I don't have as good of a view of the ear from back here, but it also keeps me from getting scratched as much. He only has ear mite dirt coming from one side, so I'm guessing they really like that one. Ear mites are incredibly resilient. I use Revolution for prevention and treatment, but oftentimes it's not enough on its own. Sometimes I have to combine it with medicated eardrops, but in this case, I'm hesitant to put them in his ears without knowing that he even needs them for sure, so I'll wait and see. For now, I'm gonna get out my light and check for any obvious indicators of ringworm. Some ringworm spores fluoresce a bright green color under the right UV light, but not all of them. This looks promising. I'll still ask the vet and see if she thinks he needs a fungal culture before I move him into the shelter and cause an outbreak on accident. I'm gonna open up a new bottle of Vetricin and spray him with this wound wash. I'm also gonna give him some treats to distract him. I need to run by the vet and pick up a Revolution for him, but I'm not even sure if it's safe to put it on him yet. It usually floods the skin around where you apply it, so if he moves at all while I'm squeezing the dispenser, it's gonna go right into that broken skin. That's some super strong stuff, so I feel like it would sting really bad if it got into anything it wasn't supposed to. Since I'm pretty sure he doesn't currently have any fleas, I might just wait to put it on him until I talk to the vet. They'll know what to do. I wish the sprayer on the bottle was a little bit quieter. They always think they're in trouble when I have to spray a wound. I don't actually have anything on hand for paws at the moment, so I'm gonna have to shop around and find something to use on his little beans. They're looking a bit cracked, and we want to take care of that so it doesn't leave an opening for any opportunistic fungus or bacteria to colonize the area. I try to be a lot more vigilant about stuff like that with FIV-positive cats since it can make it harder to deal with later on. Hopefully he doesn't beat me up when I try to clean his feet. Most cats don't like them being messed with, so I usually only clean them when I have to. I don't see any evidence of fleas, but it is standard procedure to treat them on intake just in case. So as per usual, he's getting a Capstar mixed into a churu. You can totally break these up with a spoon or something, but the mortar and pestle was right there from the last time I used it, so I just grabbed it. I don't know a lot about this guy's history, but whoever TNR'd him has my utmost respect. We don't have an actual TNR program here. Whoever did it out of pocket. Even if the cat is left outside, fixing them keeps them from breeding and reduces the instances of fighting that lead to FIV transmission. Keeping them indoors is obviously the best thing you can do, but if that's simply not an option, TNR is absolutely better than nothing. The fact that he was already fixed and had his rabies shot made it a lot easier for me to make the commitment to him. It's not a ton of money, but it's $60 that I didn't have to pay for, and because rabies is a legally required vaccine, it doesn't put me in any legal jeopardy while I wait for an appointment to get the other ones done. You can tell he was a well-loved cat. He's in really good condition and super friendly. I hope whoever was taking care of him knows that their work paid off. He's safe now and has all the time he needs to find the home he deserves. All the cats I've taken care of and didn't find homes for are gone now, aside from the newest round of yard kittens, but I always wonder what happened to them, if some nice person swooped them up and gave them the life I couldn't. I like to imagine that's what happened over the alternative. When you see a cat with a cropped ear, it means someone stepped in and took responsibility for a situation they most likely didn't create. Someone cared enough to buy that cat a ticket to a better life. Now that we're all done with the stuff we can do today, it's time to say goodnight. I tried to get him to lay on his little blanket, but he just wanted to sulk in the cat box and look sad. I feel terrible leaving him. It's been a few days now since we last checked in. He's been doing really well in isolation. He seems to feel right at home here. We've been hanging out and getting to know each other while we waited for his appointment. But today is vet day, so it's time to load him into the carrier and get him looked over. They were able to get him in super fast. We picked him up on the 3rd, and it's only the 7th. It's looking like February's on track for being another big vet bill month. It's most likely going to exceed last month since I still have several more appointments I need to take care of, but at least I should have a few of them finished up and ready to adopt. We also took Artie in for revaccinations and a microchip. He's back to being up for adoption now that that's been taken care of. I really need to clear some of these guys out. I am so exhausted. He put up a bit of a fight, but overall, it really wasn't too bad. It's always the little bitty squirrely ones that are the hardest to get into a carrier. These big ones usually go in without too much of a fight. He's already had his rabies shot, but he needed the combo vaccine for protection against herpes, calicivirus, parvo, and leukemia. We want to make sure he doesn't catch any preventable diseases in the near future. He also got a microchip, so if for whatever reason he ever finds himself at another shelter, someone can go and get him out of an impound rather than him being deemed unadoptable again as soon as they test him and facing the needle because of it. I'm not sure why, but he does have a distended abdomen, so that's probably why she ordered a fecal flotation to check for intestinal parasites. I got to do the honors of collecting my first sample. Gloving up to dig through the cat box was not on my bingo card for the day, but here we are. It came back negative, so luckily no wormies survived the litany of antiparasitics that were thrown at this guy before I even got a hold of him. I would have been pretty shocked if he had anything. The vet always asks about medications they've had, and I told him I gave him a Capstar, but I totally forgot to mention the dewormers he was given before I had him until they asked me about it. The worst part is, I knew I was gonna do that, so I took his health log with me so that I would remember, and I still forgot. They gave him a 3-day course of fenbendazole in the shelter, and then a liquid pyrantyl parazoquantel suspension at the rescue he went to after that, but you literally just never know, so if they say let's check it out, we check it out. I have a really good clinic that doesn't try to overcharge me at every opportunity they can find, so I can be confident that if they recommend something, it's warranted. If your vet sucks or the clinic's been bought up by private equity firms, it's gonna force you to figure a lot of things out on your own or pay exorbitant fees for things you don't actually need just to get the treatments or testing you do. But that's a tangent for another day. I finally got a thermometer, so I wanted to test it out on him just to see if it works. I'll have to modify my intake form and monthly health logs to include a temperature reading. I've been thinking about uploading a digital version of all my logs and forms, so if anyone wants to use them, they can. It's really helpful to track all their health info from month to month, but I'm not sure how many people actually care to do all the extra work. I ordered him some paw cleaner and some bean lotion for his crusty toes. The paw spa is officially in business. They did me a solid and clipped his nails at the vet so that I didn't have to do it. It makes me so anxious to clip them. I have super clot just in case I clip too high up, but I'm still scared they're gonna jerk around and I'm gonna hurt them. He's tolerating the cleaning a lot better than I expected though. I've never used one of these scrubbers before, so I wasn't sure what to expect. The lotion can be used on their paws and nose, so if anyone gets dry nose, we have something for that now too. I'll put links to everything I used in this video in the comment section for anyone who's interested. The brush on it is super nice though, you just pump the foam right through it and go to town. I had to put some gloves on to finish the job because the lotion made my hands too slick to hold onto the bottle. Maybe it'll heal my cracked paws. I wonder if the outside cats will let me lotion them. They could probably benefit from it quite a bit since they're exposed to the dry air all day. Meeper and Weeper let me play with their feet, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't. Mr. Hungry always has really rough paws, so I'll have to take a look at his next time he stops by for a nibble. Shinobu likes a good paw massage, so I bet he'd be down for some buttered beans. I'm pretty sure Doofy would just slap it right out of my hands. Papa would probably sleep through it, and Toofus would try to gum the scrub brush to death. The rest of the cats I'm not sure about, though. I could probably make a whole video about my misadventures trying to clean everyone's paws. Neither of these products should need to be rinsed off. I don't think anyone likes rinsing cat feet. The lotion has probiotics in it, so I'm hoping that it helps inhibit fungal growth that tends to be super common in the folds and crevices of cat and dog paws since he doesn't really have an immune system to fight it off. I've never used either of these products before, so I can't really attest to their long-term efficacy, but I'm definitely liking the immediate results I'm seeing. They look so much better. His look better than mine do. I asked if she thought he needed a culture on his neck, and she said it was probably from his ears bothering him, so that was a big relief. He had a little ear infection on both sides, but we got some Animax ointment to take care of that. I was shocked to find out the ear I thought was the bad one was actually the better of the two. I wonder if it's from mites and maybe the fluid was pushing them out before they could get it too dirty and cause infection. I have no clue though, I'm just shooting in the dark on that one. I asked if I could put Revolution on him with his little neck like that, and it turns out they said I could put it on the top of his head. I'm so glad to know that. That's really useful since they scratch their neck up when their ears are bad. I'm constantly talking about Revolution, but I guess I should explain what it is for those who don't know. It's a topical flea, tick, and ear mite treatment that also helps prevent some intestinal parasites as well. It's not an over-the-counter medication, so you do have to get it from a vet. It's dosed by weight, so if your pet fluctuates a lot, be sure to keep track of that so you know what size ampule they need. I was worried about drug interactions between antifungals and antibiotics, so I asked if I should use the Malacat flesh to clean the ear before administering the antibiotic ointment. They said it could cause the ear to be too wet for the ointment to stick to the tissue properly, so we're not going to do that. I will be cleaning up some of the excess ointment with a dry Q-tip before I put more in though, that way the new stuff can get in there and do its job. This is why I always ask lots of questions before I do stuff, because I wouldn't have even thought of that being an issue. I'm a DIY girly all the way. There are very few things I'm willing to pay someone else to do for me, but this is why even with the years of experience I've accumulated dealing with cats, I pay a vet I can trust and I don't try to wing this stuff myself. Knowing that you don't know everything is so important to avoiding mistakes. Back in my old job, I used to train everyone, like literally everyone. I even had to train my own bosses. I probably trained hundreds of people over the years, and I always gave a similar speech about how, like, yes, there is such a thing as a dumb question, but that's okay. Just ask the dumb question. I would so much rather you ask me a dumb question than do something stupid without question, and then it spirals out into a giant mess that I ultimately have to clean up because you don't know how to. So ask questions, even if it's stupid, because I can almost guarantee that your vet would rather answer a question than have to come behind you and sweep up a mistake you made. Especially one that might impact your pet's health. And I get it, like yes, they're doctors and they get paid to do it, but first and foremost, they're human beings. Who among us wants to be traumatized on a daily basis by all the awful things these guys already have to see at work? If there's a way you can avoid making it worse for them, you probably should. Not to mention, I don't think most people realize they make substantially less money on average than human doctors, so they're not even being well compensated for it. Hopefully my vets know that I appreciate them because I definitely couldn't do this all without them. I'll probably make a short update video after I take him to his next appointment and we get him integrated into the shelter. I think he and Shinobu are going to be best friends once they get to know each other. Deaver's a sweetheart, so I don't think she'll care, but Toofus is sassy and very territorial. Wish me luck. We actually have a few bells to break down this time instead of just one. I bought him a Revolution before I took him in for his appointment, so that was $32. His actual exam fee was only $35. He got the combo vaccine with added leukemia protection for $60. He got a microchip for $40. And then he got a tube of Animax ointment for $28.52. I took his sample in after the appointment was over, so I ended up going in to pay for it a few days later after we knew the results and if he would need any kind of further treatment. And that was $45. Our grand total for intaking Max is $240.52. He's still got a recheck in 2 weeks, but if he doesn't need anything else, that should only be like $35 or $50, depending on if it's just a quick exam or a full office visit. It looks like it's going to run us just under $300 to get him ready for adoption. Since everything went well, I'm going to go ahead and add him to the adoption application for anyone who wants to pre-apply. I'll leave a link to the application in the comment section below.